I'm so glad you stopped by, because today we have got the criminal court system broken down for us by none other than Judge David Fleischer. And he has got so much more information for us. You're going to love it. So let's go watch. Just one question, though. Who is Judge Fleischer? And then we'll go from there.
Just a little blurb on the screen trying to make a difference. Essentially, it's just, the bottom line. I doing what I can to help as many people as I can in the short time that I'm, hopefully longer, that I'm going to be here, because who knows how long I'll be here. So we try to reach out and touch the mind of every single person that we can. I think you do that by being on the same level, right? So speaking to them in a language that everyone can understand, whether it's someone from Mexico, whether it's someone from Australia, whether it's someone from here, but connecting with them one-on-one, in spite of them having an attorney, in spite of them having DAs around here. So like literally meeting eye to eye, having a meeting of the minds, being on the same wavelength, and transmitting to them that, hey man, you're here. There's a problem. Own it. Let's get moving forward on how to best fix it. That's it.
I love that. And that partially answers my next question, which is, why do you think you've gained such popularity on YouTube?
Because there's just not many people doing it. That's it. I mean, it's just, we don't have any special thing, but there's no special sauce. There's no special thing here. It's just, there aren't many that do it. I think, a lot of people like it. A lot of people like to see what happens in courts. A lot of people like to see what happens with defendants who get charged with criminal cases. I think a lot of people find it interesting, and it's a great teaching tool, because I think families show it to loved ones, their loved ones show it to others, and then it balloons, it evolves, and eventually you might show it to the right person at the right time who is considering doing something they shouldn't, and then they see the consequence and like, oh man, that's probably not a good idea to do what I was thinking about doing.
I like that.
We're just doing what we would do every day.
See, and I had the impression, I think a lot of people have the impression, and I don't anymore, that attorneys and judges just want to send people away. But that's not at all what you want to do.
No. It's farthest from that. I mean, and I routinely tell people, hey, we're not here to just punish and lock you up. Our main concern are two. Are you a danger to our public? Number one. Number two, are you going to continue? Learn from them. If you're here, learn from it. Let's move on. Now, if you show me that you're a dangerous person, I'm going to take the right response. If you're watching earlier today, geez, just, one of the biggest problems I have for me is the delay. I hate the delay, because people, instead of getting the treatment they should, something gets delayed and they invariably end up doing something they shouldn't, when treatment would have hopefully fixed that, and I think that a lot of people get angry at us because we let too many people go. I've heard that time and again, and it's not about letting go. It's not letting go. No, it's making sure someone gets the message, and that's it.
What do you think is the largest contributing factor to people having legal trouble? It could be more than one.
It is. It's twofold. One, lack of education. Lack of education is big. There's three things. Number one, lack of education. Number two, lack of jobs. And number three, parents. So people who have way too much time on their hands become self-destructive. And I say this day in and I say it day out. And that's either an adult or it's a child. Children, unfortunately, a lot of kids don't have parents that supervise them properly. Don't push them. Hey man, get into school. You need to do something with your life. I saw someone earlier today dropped out at the 7th grade. What on earth do you expect with your life if you drop out at the 7th grade? You know, do you expect, I mean, there's one Jeff Bezos in a lifetime. You know, there's one, Microsoft, you know, Bill Gates. There's one Bill Gates. There's one, dude that dropped out of Harvard, Zuckerberg.
Yeah, Mark Zuckerberg.
There's one, two, maybe three in a lifetime. But other than that, you know, the meager peons on this earth, right? You gotta set yourself up. So the biggest problem is, number one, the lack of education, right? You drop out 9th grade, drop out 10th grade, 11th grade. You've got no skill. You've got no one pushing you to work. So what are you going to do? Nothing, nothing, right? Same thing with the people. Some people just don't like to work. But the problem is you still need money. How are you going to do it? How are you going to get it? Those are the three.
Okay. Now, this is something that's a little bit confusing. You were talking about time. Things takes a lot of time. What is the process for criminal court? So once someone gets arrested, the steps from arrest to sentencing, because this is another thing where people think, oh, you get arrested, then you go to court one time and you get your sentence and you're done. But that's not at all how it goes.
No. So let's say Jen Hardy gets arrested for DWI. So what happens is you go out on a Saturday night, you're meeting friends, and you have just, you know, you make a mistake, you have just a couple more than you should. You end up, you get pulled over, you get arrested, you go to the Joint Processing Center, which is the JPC. That's in downtown Houston. You get in line in front of everybody else. Now it's a Saturday night, it's a Friday night, so there may be hundreds of people that are getting arrested. Remember, we're in a city of 3-4 million people, so there's hundreds of people getting arrested. At some point, you have to get in front of a magistrate. So we try to get you in front of a magistrate within 24 hours. And at that point, you will either get a general order bond or you'll be released on a PR bond, depending on how fast they get you in front of a magistrate. So after you get that PR bond remember, this is misdemeanor case, not felony. Felony cases are different. After you get that general order bond, typically you are ordered to appear in front of a judge in 7 days. In that 7 days, you know, a lot of people will get lawyers. Some people don't, and they just come to court. So at that first appearance, that's called the arraignment. That's the part where you come to court, you're apprised of the charges, you enter in a plea, and then, you know, generally what we do is find out, hey, you know, what's your working status? What's your lawyer status? Are you able to hire a lawyer? If not, and then let's say you don't hire a lawyer. We set you off to give you time to hire a lawyer. If we give you a court-appointed lawyer, at that point, you are expected to meet with the lawyer and start working your case. Depending on what type of case it is, it may take time to get evidence. You know, some cases, evidence is there within, 30 days or 60 days. Sometimes it may take longer. Let's say you pick up a theft case where there is an alleged victim where you stole a PlayStation. Well, the DAs will have to talk to that person. It may take long. Sometimes they're in hiding. So it may take months to get that. And so, at some point we put the stop. We normally do it at around 180 days. At 180 days, 6 months, you either must accept a plea bargain or we're going to set your case for trial. Now, there are extraordinary circumstances that may push that a little bit longer, but by and large, that's the normal process. And in between those settings, we waive your appearance so you don't have to mindlessly come to court waiting for evidence, because a lot of people in the old days, they'd come to court, sit in court, waiting for the lawyer to reset the case, knowing full well that no evidence would get there. There was nothing to do, just basically reset the case to wait for more evidence to come. So,
wow. Okay. And a plea bargain is only for people who are guilty.
No. Plea bargains are extended in every case. Every
Really?
case is a plea bargain. Oh yeah. It's whether the lawyer and the client want to accept it. Do they have other evidence to show that would warrant a dismissal? So almost every case that's disposed of is disposed of by a plea bargain. of some sort. I mean, I think statistically they say what of all the criminal cases, 5% go to trial,
Wow.
give or take.
Okay.
Yeah, by and large, I mean, over 90% of the cases are settled through plea bargain agreements. Now, it may not be in a plea bargain that you like, but it is what it is, right? You know, a lot of things are taken into consideration for plea bargains: criminal history, age, what does the victim want? Like in an assault case, right? The DAs a lot of times will take into account what a victim or an alleged victim would like. Are they out for blood? You know, like let's say you have like an intox manslaughter, like someone is dead. What does the family want? Does the family want them to do a ton of prison time? Was there some kind of mitigating factor? So,
Okay. Well,
uh,
that's really
plea bargains
interesting.
in all cases. It's whether they want to accept it or not.
Okay. If you could write and pass just on your own any law, what would you like to see pass? Sorry, that's kind of out of left
You
field.
know, I don't know about necessarily a law, but I think what would be really cool is what if they embedded steering wheels with like a scram monitor? You know how we put scrams on people's ankles, right?
Right.
To determine whether they consume alcohol. Why not have that in a steering wheel? So a car, if it senses, right? Because interlocks, people blow into it. They may have someone else blow into it because it takes your picture every time you blow. So people can fool it by, you know, I have it here you blow into it and then it starts the car. Well, if you're going to drive the car, there's only one way, right? So you put your hands on the car. That'd be really cool. I don't know about necessarily law, but
Oh, but
I,
that's good. I like that.
I've never been one to write policy. You know, those are like there's reps, like state reps, state senators, and, you know, those, they deal with a lot of policy, writing new laws. How do you change this and that? Me, I like the practicality approach. I like, you know, um, I like more hands-on getting my, you know, it's a good question because I've never really thought about it because I'm not one it's into policy as much.
Okay, so I'll change my second question a little bit about that and say if there was a policy, a court policy or procedure that you could change to make it easier for you or for the defendants or whatever, is there something that you would do about that?
I wish I had more resources. I wish I had resources to help people get jobs because I think one of the major things that we have here is the lack of people to be able to get jobs. And I wish I had a staff or some way, if I have someone coming in, doesn't have a job, wants to work, I can say, okay, look, you know what? You have an interest in welding? Okay, you know, here, here's my team that can help you set up a job to be able to become a welder. Or if you already know how to weld, this is a group here that we can have you go work with so you can start making money. Because I think a productive person is a law abiding person because if they're working and they're making money and they make good money, they're less likely to go out and do something they shouldn't. And so I wish I just had more resources as far as being able to get jobs and dealing with mental issues, because that's another big one that we have. I don't have enough resources to help with, you know, I'll give you an example now. You know, if I want someone to be evaluated for competency, it takes at a minimum 30 days. 30 days. That's insane. But
Yeah.
we just don't have enough staff. And then not only does it take 30 days just to get the evaluation done, but then it takes another couple weeks just to get the report back. So meanwhile, people sit in custody. Do they get better? No, because they're sitting in jail, you know, but we just don't have the resources. And unfortunately, because of the nature of the business that we're in, I don't know how much people in Austin want to give us more money to handle this, but if you did, perhaps we could tackle the problem. If I had more resources, I think that we could do better. I think we're doing okay, but we could be doing more. And I think a lot of it is keeping people busy. And it's the same with children. You know, if you keep kids busy with extracurricular sports, with school, then they're less likely to get in trouble outside of school. So.
Yeah. And then they have pride in something. If you're an adult sitting around all day doing nothing.
God, I mean, you just, we have people that come in and they literally, I had one guy who's like mid-30s, never a job in his life. I'm like, what? I mean, what do you do? I mean, don't you like to buy things? Don't you like nice things? So, I mean, and I guess it's just me. I've always liked to work. I like to work hard. And that's something else that I try to impress on the people that come with us. Hey, man, get your act together. Work hard. There are great results if you do the work. But no one's going to give you anything while you're sitting on your tuchus, man.
Yeah, I agree.
So what
Absolutely.
we're trying to inspire to really be a leader. Go out there. Go do something. And especially for the women, man, men are dogs, man. They're dogs. Don't wait on a man to give you something. Go get it yourself. Get educated. Be something.
Yeah,
You know,
great advice.
men
Because even
work
if
from the
you
man.
did, you marry a great person and he takes care of you, what if? You have to prepare for the what
What
if.
if?
You have to.
Wish I could tell you just the stories that we have, but I mean, I can't, but
No, yeah,
just, you never know when they're going to leave.
yeah.
I mean, we get
No.
bigger, we get older, we lose hair, we get fatter. We don't age well, they might tr- trade you in. What happens if they do that?
Hmm. And
Stuck
that
there.
happens so often. It does.
Yeah.
So,
So that's
see,
why
so
especially for the younger women, I'm trying to prepare them. Hey, man, come on, move it. Let's get it. Come on.
yeah. And I told my children if they are either in college or they're paying me rent. That's it. And it's low rent, $200 a month. It's not a lot, but it's something. And you know what? They all went to college. They all moved out. They all did their thing. And they all thought I was a horrible mother to tell them that. But they're all my adult children are self-sufficient. And I think if more parents just, it can be a low barrier, but just something to motivate them to not sit on the couch all day. You can't let your kids do that. It's not teaching them good, healthy
No,
things.
no, absolutely. So, and I employ that same technique here at home. And that's what I've told everybody since day one. What I do at work is what you see at home. There's no change. And I'm going to hold all our people in court to the same standard I would hold my own kids.
Yeah. Which is healthy because a lot of them don't have parents. So they need a judge to be a parent.
I
So
see it all too often. And it's really a shame how parents, some just don't push their kids at all. And yeah, as they say, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. So, hey, we're going to take it upon ourselves to try to help you as much as we can.
I love that. What's the most surprising thing about being a judge that you didn't expect when you started?
All the outside work that we would have to do as far as campaigning and stuff. I never knew how much it would actually be. And it's a real kick. There's so much work that goes behind the scenes to even become a judge, at least here in Harris County. I mean, it's tough. It's not an easy. Um, and then not only do for me, not only did I take a big pay cut to become a judge to do all this, but I get embroiled first in a lawsuit with bail reform, right? And then not only do I go from one lawsuit with bail reform, then I get sued again by another, opponent claiming that the election was rigged or this or that. And so, I mean, I went from one lawsuit to another lawsuit. And then not only do I have to raise funds for me to be reelected, but now I have to now raise funds to defend myself in this next lawsuit. So it's been a trying couple of years, I mean, I don't know if you knew this, but so we had when we first got elected, there was a lawsuit for bail reform going on. We are on board with bail reform. We agree with it. So that was settled pretty rapidly. And we tried to work all the kinks here and there and still do, so to speak. And then after that last election, when was it? In 22? Yeah, in 22, because of the trickle down national politics as far as election challenges. A lot of us got challenged here in Harris County. I'd say we're like, what, 22, 25 of us got challenged.
Oh,
So we end up having to hire a lawyer and defended this lawsuit for, God, close to a year, And so I think there may be one still at it. So, that was one of the things that I really didn't expect to happen. Yeah. Thankfully, everything turned out well, right? But it was an unexpected challenge,
Oh, and that's interesting because I never really thought about judges getting sued until this year when I've heard about it a couple times, and I don't know,
Me
for some
neither.
reason.
Me neither. Right. And then you're expected to really, what do we make? We don't make that much as it is, right? And then lawsuits aren't cheap, you know?
Right.
Who's going to pay
Yeah,
for it?
that's a lot.
So go on another, running campaign to try to scramble and hey,
So is
but
there any kind of insurance for judges, like, to cover things like that?
there is, yeah, but it's malpractice insurance, just like any lawyer or doctor, but not for this case. This is, because we were sued in our individual capacity. So therefore we had to get our own representation. We were expected to hire our own lawyers, right? And you can't just have, you need a good lawyer. Thankfully, my lawyer's great. But that was a real kick in the ding ding, so to speak. But
Yeah,
luckily it ended well and we're still here doing what we're doing. It's been a great ride so far. I hope that we can continue to do it. I think that we're doing well, and I hope that the public is happy with us and everyone's happy with us. And I try to be nice to everybody, lawyers, DAs, officers, whoever it is that comes. It doesn't matter, people who are charged. So, yeah, we'll see.
what's been and I know there's a lot that you can't share, and if you can't answer the question, that's okay. What's
Sure.
been the most memorable moment in your courtroom that you could talk about?
I would say for me, one of the best ones is we had this gentleman that, was charged. I don't even remember what it was. And he'd never once ever, and we're talking a whole laundry list of charges, never once appeared. And we went round and round and round with him, round and round. And one of our, great PD public defenders who was working with him and, he had a dog and issues with the dog because of one thing or other. And I remember he had gotten a new case and he showed up in court. I nearly lost it. I was just like, I couldn't believe that he had actually appeared in court because we're talking dozens of times where he never once. And then he started to show up and I literally, I mean, I almost got off the bench to go hug. I mean, I can't, right? Can't, I didn't, but I mean, I was just so happy that he would finally come because I think that he started realizing, hey, he's really wants to help. He's not here to just throw us away, throw away the key and just no, we want to help you get set up in life, jobs, housing, however it may be, Social Security. So that was a great thing. When I see people come back in a great way, that's it for me. That's the great part for me. When I see someone become a success or they do well, they, send me an email. Hey man, I got a job. I'm doing this. It's going great. That for me, that's spectacular.
Yeah, and I feel like people feel like they can connect with you. I don't know if it's part of it's the lack of the robe or you just have a different way that you seem more open, I think, and it's nice to see, and it's nice to hear that they're messaging you like that.
I get a lot of messages, and I can't answer everyone. I try to answer those that I can, cause can't give legal advice. And I get a lot of questions about legal advice and I just can't cause we're not allowed to. Um, but it's nice to speak to others and see how well they're doing. And I appreciate it. And I don't know if I wear my heart on my sleeve, but if you do well, I want you to know. and I want to be there to congratulate you. And I love success stories. And that's the goal with being a judge, is to keep getting these success stories and getting people to be a success. That's what keeps me motivated, is to get people to become successful.
I love that. All right. And to wrap it up, the final question: what piece of advice, you can't give people court advice, but would you life advice, 1 to 3 things that you would tell people just to help them in life?
And this is what I tell, I say this to everyone that comes, if you put your heart and soul into it, you can achieve anything. I don't care who you are. I don't care how you grew up, where you grow up. At some point, your decisions are your own. I get it that you had a bad childhood. I get it that you didn't have a father. I understand you don't have a mother. You didn't have a house, don't have a Ferrari. But if you put your heart and soul into it, you can achieve anything. And I give the example to all of my friends, or to the people that come into court. My friend who started off working at a Chick-fil-A, he now runs one of the most successful ones here, and he's making 400 a year. But you start somewhere, and if you kick ass and you care and you just do well, I mean, the sky's the limit. Really. It's just great. That's what's so great about this country. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. This is the absolute land of opportunity. And if you take it by the horns, even if you don't have money, if you don't have it, if you do a little searching, it's there for you. And I'm always happy to help too. However,
That's fantastic. All right. And okay, now I got to ask one more thing. How do you balance? Because you're a really dedicated family man, which I think is so incredible, but you're also dedicated to work. How do you balance it all?
it's tough. Luckily, I have a wife that helps me a lot. But it is tough. I mean, it's now what? It's 3 o'clock. I haven't eaten anything since, well, at all. I've had just a cup of coffee because always on the run. Um, I have a great support system too. My babushka, right? My mother-in-law, great. Just, she's always willing to help here and there because, I get caught up in trial. I get caught up in court, and then Elena, my wife, gets caught up somewhere. So she comes into the rescue, and she's great. My folks help as well. But, I guess we just have it timed really well because it's literally on the go. Boom, 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 always. But I guess I wouldn't have it any other way, right? Because then life gets boring. I like being on the move. I like being on it, you know. And, for me, my day starts at 5 a.m. I get up early because that's the only time I can go run. So I get up early. I go on my run. I come home. Get home at 7:05. I jump in the shower. I get 4 kids ready for school in the morning. I take my youngest son and my daughter first. They got to be at school at 7:30, and then 7:45. I get them, come back, take the other 2 to school, and then they're there by 8:15. So then I run to court, come back, and then I got to go get the other one at 3. And then after school stuff, gymnastics, drama, whatever it may be. But it's great because otherwise life would be boring, you know? At some point they're all going to get grown. They're all going to be out on their own. I don't know what the hell I'm going to do with myself. Yeah.
Let's end right there.
At some point we'll just be Fortnite all day, all night,
For some reason, I don't think that that's what you're going to do. I have a feeling you're
I
going to
have a question for you. I have a
Okay.
question for you. And I asked this question the other day in open court, and someone had a response for me, but is Mr. Beast real?
Yeah.
Are you sure? He
Well,
boasts, hey man, you subscribe here, you could win $1 million. You could come on this show. You can do this. Is it real? Is it? What do you think?
do you mean, is he real like as a person, or is what he's, I think so. I think that is his entire life that he's built up to.
500 million subscribers, Jen. Really? But
He
is
makes
it real?
$1 million a minute or some ridiculous thing. It's
I don't know.
great.
I'm curious. Is it real? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know. I had a philosophy class in high school, and the teacher would say, "What do you know?" Like capital K, no. What do you know? And really, it's nothing when you think about it, because you think, I know the sun's going to rise tomorrow, but there is a chance it doesn't, right? I mean, when you really get into the weeds, what do you know? Oh,
Death in
not a lot.
Texas.
So, well, now you've given me something to think about. That's interesting.
My son swears by it. Just loves Mr. Beast, and I'm like, come on, really? Swears it's the greatest thing ever, and it's it's real. Look, let's subscribe that. We can be on it. I'm like,
Yeah. Yeah, the chances is like winning the lottery. We've moved away from the Mr. Beasts of the world and are, yeah, trying to stay a little bit more educational. There's a lot to take up your brain space out there, you know?
yeah,
So,
absolutely.
all right. Well, thank you for that question. I like that. Have an amazing Thanksgiving and everything.
Thanks, you
And
too. Hey,
tell your
I'm
wife
happy
thank you
to
for sharing
stop
your
by
time.
anytime. I love chatting with you.
Thank you so much, Judge Fleischer, for joining me again today. And thank you for watching. We really appreciate your time. What did you like the most about today's interview? Put it below in the comments, as well as who would you like to see next? Can't wait to find out and bring them on the show. Talk to you soon.